What's up, vapors? Thanks for checking out Daily Vape TV. My name is Nick, and it's that vlog time once again. That's right, this is episode 51 of my Let's Vape vlog series, where I just talk about a whole bunch of different topics affecting the vaping industry and me and the channel and all that stuff. I've got a fairly full show on tap for you guys. We're going to start it all off with some news, updates, and advocacy, and I've got some vape drama to talk about. I really don't want to have to talk about vape drama. I used to do it a lot back in the day, but you know what? It's important, and I feel like it's going to get a good discussion going on down in the comments section. So we're going to talk about it. Then I'm going to, of course, wrap up my travels to London for the London Vape Show. We're going to talk about that. We've got some first impressions to do of the stuff that I unboxed on my last vlog. And then we're going to go into some quick shout outs. After that, we're going to talk about what I've been vaping on this past week, all of the different various setups that I've been rocking, and I've got a beer segment planned out for you guys. So stay tuned for that if you guys love beer like I do. And then we are going to unbox some vape mail. Yeah, I got some vape mail in this week. I cannot wait to unbox. With that, go ahead and grab your favorite mod, grab a comfy chair, a beverage if you want one, sit back, relax, and let's vape. All right, guys, we're going to kick it all off with some advocacy. Now, this is a little bit of clarification of the San Francisco flavor ban. They held a meeting the other night, and they kind of cleared up a few things here. So I'm just going to read this right off of notblowingsmoke.org, and I'll link it right down there if you guys want to read along with me here. But it says, last night at the San Francisco Department of Public Health meeting, a few things got confirmed. In no particular order, sales of zero-nic products are allowed, and the retailer can sell nicotine separately that can then be applied by the customer. Note, do not mix that in the store or do it for them. Second note, this is confirmed to be fine in San Francisco. Beverly Hills, on the other hand, is a completely different story. Compliance checks will start in October, but no suspensions of TRLs or monetary fines will be issued during the initial compliance period. Instead, retailers will be given a notice and ordered to stop selling flavored tobacco products. Final implementation should be ready by January 2019, and once finalized, retailers will be subject to suspension and fines for non-compliance. Finally, the San Francisco Department of Public Health will hold monthly meetings with the retailers until the end of the year. So I guess this is a little bit of a glimmer of hope for the city of San Francisco, but at the same time, I feel like this is almost worse than it was. I mean, honestly, it's almost worse because now you're having a customer being able to handle the raw form of nicotine. It might be a nicotine shot sort of thing like they have over in the UK, where it's like 20 milligrams of nicotine mixed with VG, and then they just kind of add it to either a short-filled bottle or they'll have to dump it out and then pour it in, that kind of thing. So it's going to be a little bit tricky, and speaking from experience working at a vape shop day in, day out, I can tell you that a lot of customers will not be happy about it because they don't want to go through that much work for it. And, you know, over here in the United States, we are used to having big bottles of juice with nicotine already in them, and we don't have to do any work. It's kind of the same feeling that I have towards the UK short fill bottles, where you have these little 10 ml bottles with a high concentrated nicotine in it. And let's say a kid gets their hands on one of those and gets the cap off somehow and drinks it. It's a much more dangerous situation because they're drinking a much more concentrated liquid, and you only have to drink a little bit of it to actually get a lot of nicotine, compared to with a 60 ml bottle with nicotine already in it, then you would have to drink a whole lot more to get the same effect. So as far as I'm concerned, I feel like it could potentially be more dangerous, and if you're really thinking about the kids, then this is the complete backwards way of doing it. But with that being said, I want to hear from you guys right down there in the comments box all about this situation in San Francisco. And the next thing we're going to talk about is vape drama. Yeah, we've got some drama to talk about. This is what happened at NVE in Richmond. Now, granted, I was not there. I was not at this event, so I don't have any firsthand experience with this whole thing, but I did some digging and I did some homework, and I found out basically the situation of what happened here. Essentially, the Vaping Legion was warned if they show up to NVE Richmond, they'll be escorted out by police. So apparently Mike Wittenberg from NVE really doesn't like the guys from Vaping Legion. He had Matt Elliott, one of the panelists of Vaping Legion, escorted out of the building as he was filming the advocacy panel. And with that, it all kind of sprang from a Facebook post showing one of the vendors at NVE Richmond, and their booth branding, which was, you know, unacceptable, that kind of thing. So honestly, I want to hear from you guys this whole situation. Who is in the right? Who is in the wrong? I think the whole thing is really, really stupid, and it should never have happened, but, you know, it's one of those things that did, and it just caused a massive shitstorm on Facebook. All of my friends just kind of going after each other, saying their opinion, and just tempers were flaring up all over the place. I really just had to, like, not pay attention to Facebook for a few days there. There was also a lot of back and forth discussion on the requirements for their warning labels on booths. Personally, I don't even know the actual requirements for the warnings on the booths and banners, because it's just really misleading and kind of not very clear as far as what the FDA has actually written down for the new compliance rules. But with that, I wanted to ask you guys out there if you think it's a good idea to actually hire a consulting firm beforehand, before you even throw a show, as you're signing vendors up. Should they be required to submit what their backdrop and banners look like before they're even approved, before they even have an opportunity to pay for their booth? Should they be required to actually send a picture of what it looks like? Also, should there be a compliance company that walks around on setup day, making sure all the booths are compliant, making sure there's not going to be any sort of drama, and basically streamlining the whole process so that none of this drama stuff ever happens again? But I want to hear from you guys. Just drop a comment right down there in the box below. I think this brings up an interesting topic. Hopefully we can just kind of move past this whole drama thing and move forward with our lives and get over this whole thing. But, you know, there's really no point in causing drama and, you know, causing a scene like this, because it's just basically making us look stupid. And especially down there in Richmond, Virginia, they were right down the street from big tobacco companies, and, you know, they're in the heart of tobacco countries. I just really wish we could all just kind of come together for once and get off the internet, stop posting malicious things in various Facebook groups, and stop making ourselves look like complete assholes, and basically come together and in solidarity as vapors and as business people and say, we are a professional industry and we want to be taken seriously. But instead we have, you know, big egos flying around everywhere, and people just want to make themselves look better. And the internet, you know, the internet is, you know, a good thing and a bad thing all in one. But let me hear from you guys right down there in the comments box what you guys think of this whole situation. So the last thing I wanted to talk about was what exactly happened at London Vape Show. Now, I'm sure a lot of you guys have already seen my London Vape Show travel vlog, and if you haven't, make sure you give it a look. But I kind of wanted to tell the underlying story in this vlog, because there was a lot that I kind of left out of my travel vlog just because I didn't want to tell it in that sort of narrative style. I'd rather save it for a format like this here, where it can just sit and talk to you guys directly and just not really spoil the fun that I was having during that time. But anyways, so I feel like the timeline speaks for itself when it comes to the London Vape Show for this year, and it starts all back in April, where Tom from Vape Finder, or formerly of Vape Finder, left. He parted ways with the company over a dispute. He left Vape Finder for the app. He left Bear Flavors and London Vape Show all in one fell swoop, just kind of washed his hands of the whole situation, and basically approached us as reviewers, the official Vape Finder reviewers, and said, you guys, I'd love for you to just carry on with the show as normal with the new management, and, you know, just try to have fun, make the best of it, that kind of thing. So we all said, yeah, you know, we'll go through with it and that kind of thing, because it is Tom's baby. He worked so hard to build up the brand and the reputation, and he doesn't want us to basically, you know, ruin it by not going to the show. So we all agreed to go to the show, and in the months leading up, we all submitted our bios to Vape Life magazine, as well as pictures, and we'll touch on that in a minute here. So now it's time for the show, and I flew in a couple days early. I stayed with Jay from LVC, and we packed up his booth for the show and drive it down to London. And when we go to set up his booth, we noticed that there's no carpeting on the floor. Not only is there no carpeting, there's also no signs to show where everyone's booth is or anything like that. Yeah, that was not very well thought out, unfortunately, and it kind of made a mess of the whole setup day. But when everything got sorted, we were in charge of setting up most of the Bear Flavors and Vape Finder booths, and as well as our own little reviewers section as well. So we were in charge of putting together the couches and some of the banner stands and backdrops and that kind of thing for that, which, you know, it was fine. I was totally okay with it. I really didn't complain all that much. It wasn't that big of a deal for me. But it just kind of shows that there was a lack of manpower there, let's say that. So we turn up to the event and there's only about 25 vendors or so. Now, I expected a few people to set up on that day of the show, but I was mistaken. There was only about 25 vendors, if that, and out of those 25 vendors, there was 3 big tobacco vendors. There was Blue, Vape, and IQOS. Yes, IQOS, the heat not burn system, was represented at the London Vape Show, which I was really not too happy with. But at the end of the day, it's my firm belief that the more money they give to the vaping industry, the better. So let them set up a stand. It's going to be empty all weekend long anyways. No one's going to go over there. No one's going to give them the time of day. Let them keep giving us their money, you know, big tobacco money. We'll take it all day long. But, you know, that was kind of an interesting topic that we talked about on Savs yesterday. At least with the Blue and Vape, they're both vape related. They are pod systems and they use e-liquid and coils and that sort of thing. So I can at least give them that. And as far as the reviewer portion of our, you know, duty there, we basically sat down around a round table and had a whole bunch of products thrown at us over the course of the day. We had pod systems to review. We had sub-ohm tanks. We had mechanical hardware. We had regulated hardware. And we also had a bunch of juice to review. Now, not nearly as much as the close to 400 bottles that we were sifting through last year. This year it was only about 40 flavors total, which really wasn't all that bad, and I could see, you know, doing that sort of system again in the future. But the problem was there was meant to be a candy and sweets category, and for some reason we didn't get handed a bag of labeled candy and sweets. Now, we had no real control over what we got in or submissions or anything like that. We were basically just handed a box with bags that are labeled with the different categories, and we had to try each one and rate them. So really none of my business. I basically stayed out of it. And over the course of the next 4 hours or so, we reviewed those flavors, and you know, as time went on, people were kind of dropping like flies after a while. Just no one really wanted to review it by the end, even with only 40 flavors. But the problem was they were supposed to all submit their flavors in Cleto tanks with 0 milligram. It should have been no nicotine, and pretty much every single one of them had nicotine in it. So that was really frustrating. One of them even had nicotine salts in it. I could taste it myself. All the guys could taste it as well, and we all gagged on that because nic salts on a Cleto tank is not the best thing in the world, let me tell you. So that night there was an award ceremony for the vendors, which was announced by Mark, the vaping postman, and of course people, when they hear that their name didn't get called, have a problem, and they go and talk to the management and staff, and things kind of got botched from there. Now, the following day, they were meant to get up on stage and accept their award in front of the public, and we as reviewers were all just kind of gathered around the stage, just kind of hovering around and filming and that kind of thing, as they were doing the giveaways and announcing the awards and that sort of thing. And speaking of giveaways, there was only about probably 30 people up on next to the stage area, and they were just chucking so many 10 ml bottles out. It was unreal. People were actually throwing them back at some points, which was actually kind of sad. And honestly, there was really no need to be throwing bottles in the first place, because everyone could have just came up and just grabbed 2 handfuls of juice, and it would have been exactly the same as what they accomplished by throwing bottles and having them fall all over the floor, breaking and leaking and just causing a huge mess and a hazard. But that is kind of besides the point. It's really not that big of a deal. So we only had one category just called tanks. We had the V-Zone Preco tank, the Watofo Flow, and the new Horizon Tech Falcon tank. Now, apparently the night before, Horizon Tech had announced on their social media that they won in the Sub-Ohm tank category for London Vape Show, which they did not. They were not announced the winners at all, and we actually picked the V-Zone Preco tank to win. But Vape Finder actually made up their own category on the awards announcement day just for Horizon Tech, because that was something that was completely out of our hands at that point. We all, as reviewers, were looking around really confused and had no idea what was going on. But then it came to the e-liquid awards, and, you know, they just botched the whole thing. They made up 2 categories called sweets and candies for some reason, and there was 2 separate winners in those categories as well. So they were basically just giving everyone a trophy that complained, and I really don't agree with that sort of thing. I really wish they just stuck with their guns and basically went with what we actually wrote down on the paper. I can't stress enough that this is not Tom's fault. This is not the Vape Finder that we had last year at this time. time, and it just really bums me out. We were all super depressed at the end of the show, and I will tell you this right now, if Tom doesn't rejoin Vape Finder and turn around the show for next year, I will not be in attendance. And I just got to say that, you know, it's just such a shame, because something that could have been so awesome and so great, and had such a great time with my friends over the weekend, and the end of it was just really just a letdown for us. So yeah, that's my story about London Vape Show. Make sure you guys also check out Chris from Empire Vape Co.'s vlog on the whole situation, as well as Dean the Devil Vapor. He did an excellent job with his. They have more information over there if you guys want to check out their vlogs, and I'll link them right down there in the description below. All right, guys, let's go ahead and do some first impressions, starting with this guy right here. This is the ijoy-diamond-vpc. This is basically their pod mod. You have your pods up top here. It has this little rubber adapter. You can fit several different types of pods in there, and you can run it with their own capsule as well, whatever you want to call it, pod. I guess it's sort of a pod that they have as well. But this one right now is a zip pod. It's basically kind of like a bootleg JUUL pod, and it has preset modes for whatever different type of pod you're using, whether it be JUUL or Miley or what's the other one that I have, the Fix pods. So it has several different preset modes, and you can also adjust it fully yourself if you so choose. But this one right here, like I said, is a zip pod, and it's set to 3.1 volts and runs off voltage instead of wattage. You can also thread whatever you want on here. It is 510 threaded, so that's kind of neat if you're in a pinch and you want something real quick. This is a nice teensy little mod with a really nice lanyard strap as well. It's got a lanyard holder right here, whatever you want, a little connection for a lanyard, and it does come with one as well, so that is really neat. And if you wanted to rock it around your neck, you can do so. But yeah, let's go ahead and have a couple of puffs on this thing. So this device goes up to 45 watts in regular wattage mode, so if you wanted to put a normal sub-ohm tank on top, I suppose you could do that as well, and just have a nice little stealthy setup, which is really kind of neat, and I might actually have to do something for that. I might have to build a tank or something with like a 0.6 ohm coil and just rock it on this little guy here. But in the actual mode for the pods, you can have it set to whatever voltage you want if you want a little bit more out of it, but I would definitely suggest trying out the preset modes first. It does give you a really good hit, and it's very kind of an appropriate power setting for each pod. But I've used fixed pods on this and JUUL pods now, and both work no problem whatsoever. I'm gonna fiddle around with it a little bit more before I do my final review and see what else works on here. But yeah, so far I really do enjoy this little device. Definitely digging the size. It's super compact and portable, excellent for just throwing it in your pocket on your way out the door, and it's going to last a lot longer than any pod system battery. Moving right along, we have the Avenger Baby, and already I've heard a bunch of drama over these batteries. This one comes with 2350 batteries, which Battery Mooch had an absolute shit fit about. These things are rated at 25 amps. I don't believe that for a second. Do not believe everything you read on battery wrappers, people. Check out Mooch's page for more information about these batteries, because it is my firm belief that they're only about 7 to 10 amps a piece, and yeah, not great. Not great for, you know, using this thing with super sub-ohm coils. I mean, this thing comes with a 0.15 ohm coil, and right now I'm trying to vape it at 68 watts. These batteries don't last me very long at all. I'd say both of them combined last me about as long as a single 18650. So is it worth having a short and stubby mod with two tiny batteries with the pointless voice control and that kind of thing versus a single 18650 mod that's probably much safer? No, no. So do I think these batteries are capable of what they say they are on the wrappers? Absolutely not. I don't trust them one little bit. So would I rather have an 18650 battery over this device here? Yes, definitely. I feel like that's a lot safer. At the end of the day, this voice control thing is for the birds. I really could do without it completely, and I just feel like this device is just really super gimmicky and not my favorite thing in the world. So it's time for the shout-outs. If you guys want to shout out for yourself, just send me an email, dailyvapetv@gmail.com. You can ask me questions, you can tell me a little bit about yourself, or ask me for a shout-out for you or someone you know or anything like that. I will cover it in one of these vlogs here. So we're going to get started today with Mike's Mex Reviews. Congratulations, Mike's Mex Reviews, on hitting 1,000 subscribers. I was there when he created his channel, and it was only a few short months ago, and now he's already up to 1,000 subscribers. So congratulations, Mike's Mex Reviews. If you don't know who Mike's Mex is, I'll leave a link to his channel right down there in the description below. He's a Savs co-host of mine, and he's a UK-based mech mod reviewer. He also does other hardware on his channel, but he's mostly centralized around mechanical devices, and I would even say that he knows more about mechs than I do, which is really impressive. So Mike, congratulations once again on the 1,000 subscribers, and here's to the next 1,000, buddy. And my next shout out goes to another UK reviewer and Savs co-host, Jay from Live Vape and Chill. Make sure you guys check out his channel right down there in the description below. Yeah, he just launched a juice line called Kinky Vapor E-Juice, and it is fantastic. This one is my favorite. It's raunchy rainbow sherbet straws, and make sure you guys tell your local vape shop to pick it up because this stuff is award-winning and fantastic. It is delicious, and I really do enjoy it. I went through about 50 mils over the course of a couple of days, so yeah, it's pretty darn good. With that, Jay, I wish you the best of luck with your juice line. Congratulations once again. Hope you did really well in Manchester, and keep doing your thing, brother. Really do love that stuff, and you'll be seeing it very soon on the channel here as well. All right, guys, it's time to talk about what I've been vaping on for the past couple of weeks, and we're going to start it off with this guy right here. I have begun my testing of the Avenger Baby, and yeah, like I said in the first impressions, really not too psyched about it. Honestly, it really does nothing for me, and yeah, it's just another kind of gimmicky mod from iJoy, which, you know, whatever. But I've been vaping on some of this nasty juice, Slow Blow. This stuff is so good, especially if you like menthol. It's got a nice kick of menthol in there, very refreshing for the palette. But yeah, let's just go ahead and have a vape on this one. So lately I've been on sort of a mech mission. I don't know exactly what brought that on, but sometimes it's just nice to kind of take a sidestep from your regulated devices and just vape on something mechanical because, you know, I just like it, you know? But we've got the Times Vape Dreamer mechanical mod with the Hellvape Drop Dead up top of there. I've been using this one since the review last week, and I just like it. You know, it struck my fancy, and I just wanted to carry on using it. So here we are today, and I've got some of this stuff right here. Riot Squad e-liquid. This one's Pink Grenade. I could go for like a gallon jug of this. With this stuff inside, I would totally vape it. But yeah, let's go ahead and have a puff off this one. Speaking of mechs, my next setup is the Ruby 270 by Kennedy Enterprises. This is my murdered out ride or die main squeeze right here. This is FDA proof. If all else fails, if the shit hits the fan, this thing will be by my side because, let's face it, it's a big hunk of copper. I can always get wire and I can always get cotton for it. So at the very end of days, I will still have my Kennedy by my side. This is definitely one of my all-time favorite mechanical devices. And yeah, inside of there, I'm vaping on something not like me. It's a dessert flavor, but it's one of my all-time favorite desserts. This is Bluebird. Yeah, throwing it back to the Bluebird days. It's a mixed berry cheesecake with Captain Crunch. So good. There's so many awesome flavors going on in there. How could you not like it? And especially on a mechanical mod. I don't know what it is about vaping Bluebird on a mech mod, but it just brings out so many different notes of flavor, and it's absolutely phenomenal. Next up, it's the setup that I like to call the bargain basement. This is the VaporStorm Puma with the Augvape Skynet-Sub-Ohm-Tank on top. The entire setup here, retail cost is $60, which is an absolute steal. And that was totally by accident. I did not mean to actually have that be this setup here, but it was just totally by accident, and it just works. Honestly, it's a great sort of all-day vape because it's super lightweight and it's a higher than average juice capacity on the tank. The flavor is is excellent. Speaking of flavor, we've got some Mayhem Vapor Jungle Juice in the tank there, and the flavor is absolutely rocking. That is one of my all-time favorite juice flavors, and I gotta say, it's so good. You guys have heard me talk about this jungle juice before. It's just really good. If you haven't tried it already and you like fruit flavors, then just give it a shot. I've also been rocking this ijoy-diamond-vpc kit, and you know what? This is my go-to stealth rig lately. It's super duper powerful for my pods, and I've been able to just kind of swap my pods out. If I want to vape on a fixed pod, I could just pop one in, or a JUUL pod, or in this case, a zip pod. Just like that, I could swap it out. This is a mint zip pod, which not quite the same as a JUUL pod, but you know what? It does the trick in a pinch. Great for sitting at the computer while I'm editing and that kind of thing. But you've already heard me talk about this in my first impression, so I'm just going to shut up and have a vape. And I've also got my MePod Rave Edition. This one is called Unity, and just picked this up recently again and just wanted to kind of go through the testing a little bit more of their new upgraded pods. Not a drop has leaked out the bottom yet, and I've been using this same pod for a while now. A little bit has gotten on the outside, but that can be kind of attributed to when I fill this thing up in a rush. I maybe spill a little bit over the sides, but yes, not a single drop of juice has leaked out the bottom of this thing, which I am super happy about because it's definitely a big improvement over their older pods. Alright guys, it's beer o'clock, my favorite segment of the vlog. We get to drink a beer and pair it up with an e-liquid. And before we get started here, I just want to say that if you have not checked out the Untapped app on iOS or Android, make sure you check it out because I am on there. My username's Vaping Beer Geek, and you can add me to see what I've been drinking on. And I can cheers you guys, you can cheers me, and all that good stuff. So make sure you check that out. I'm not being sponsored by them whatsoever. I just think it's a cool app. So with that, today we've got a beer from Solemn Brewery. This one caught my eye in the store and I had to just try it out, especially because it's a New England style IPA. This one is called Sizeist Iota, which I'm sure there's a reference in there somewhere, but I just have no idea what it is. And let's check it out here. This is a New England style IPA, like I said, 6.5% alcohol by volume. And if there's a flavor description here, yeah, it says, just ask Joanna and Kylie. Nevertheless, the game set a solid tone for one hell of a night in Boston. Inspired by clouded judgment and hazy recollection, this beer lives in honor of our most hospitable hosts. Like I said, there's a story there, way over my head, no clue what that's in reference to. But anyways, I like the label, and it's a New England IPA. You can't go wrong. Let's go ahead and crack it open. Yeah, I love that sound. That sound reminds me of good times. Like that. This is a nice hazy dark orange. You can see a lot of little specks floating around in there. And I'm not sure if this is actually marketed as unfiltered or not, but it doesn't seem to be very highly filtered, this one. But that's totally cool with me. We have a slightly off-white head. Like I said, dark orange, hazy kind of color, which I love. Yeah, let's go ahead and have a sniff. Oh, yeah, that's familiar. That kind of, almost like rotten oranges, like high alcohol and citrus zest. Lots of like zesty citrus notes in there. So the first thing that I get with this one is the tartness, the sharpness, that sour, that little bit of like orange bite. And as it kind of rolls across your tongue and your palate, you get that sort of bitterness to it, that very light kind of bitterness flavor, kind of like you chewed on an orange rind or something like that. Now, looking at the website, it's only 40 IBUs, which is actually pretty light on the bitterness scale, but as far as I'm concerned, you get that lingering bitter flavor towards the end, and it just kind of stays there until you have another sip. The next thing that I pick up with this one here is almost like a champagne sort of flavor right in the middle. You get that very bright sort of sparkliness to it, and it just leaves that sort of like dryness on your tongue as well. So you kind of have that dryness like champagne, and you also have that bitterness as well, which it's kind of a mellow, like I said, mellow on the IBUs and also fairly tame on the alcohol by volume as well. So it's really nothing that crazy. You know, I'm used to double IPAs that are 7+%, and those are very bitter. Those are very bitey as far as the alcohol is concerned. This one here is more of like a nice summer backyard sort of beer. I could definitely see myself enjoying a couple of these during the hot weather and, you know, having a hamburger or something like that alongside of it. Right, so let's pair this one up. Well, what am I vaping on today compared to what I can pair up with this? I feel like there's going to be a better candidate for what I'm vaping on, but I'm going to go with the Riot Squad with this one here, the Pink Grenade. That tartness, that sourness, and that sweetness, I feel like are going to complement the flavors in the orange. It's going to give it a little bit of a different citrus twist, and it's going to just kind of sweeten it up towards the end. So let's see how this goes. Let's go ahead and have a sip here, and we'll pair it up. You know what? That's a pretty darn good pairing. I'm not going to lie. The sweetness of the e-liquid really just kind of brightens up the aftertaste of the beer. Not that it's super bitter or anything like that, but it just really makes your mouth water and makes you want to have another sip, because the taste on your tongue, as far as the beer is concerned, is a very nice tart citrus. And the same is true when you have the Pink Grenade, the pink lemonade going on. You get that sort of like real lemony tartness going on as well. And it just kind of complements each other and makes for one really interesting flavor experience. Plus, there's a teeny bit of menthol in the Pink Grenade, which just makes it that much more refreshing. So I am definitely a fan of that. As far as the beer is concerned overall, I really do enjoy it. As far as being like an unfiltered goes, yeah, there's a lot of little particles floating around in there, and you can kind of feel them as you're drinking it, which is kind of weird. I don't know if you guys that drink unfiltered beers feel the same way, but that's just a little bit funky. You know, I'm still not used to it. I've drank quite a few unfiltered beers before, but it's still not a familiar feeling to me. But in any case, let's just have another sip here and another puff, and then we'll do my final thoughts. So what do I think of Sizeist Iota from Solemn Brewery? I think it's a very good summer beer. It's really good for those times where you're at the beach or out by the pool or in your backyard grilling or something like that. It's going to be great for that, but it will sneak up on you because it doesn't have that traditional sort of heavy bite to the alcohol. This one sitting at 6.5% is definitely a sleeper. So yeah, it's not bad. And considering Solemn Brewery is from Naperville, Illinois, you know, they do a pretty darn good New England style IPA, so fairly impressed with it, and I do recommend you guys try it out for yourself if you get the opportunity. So with that, cheers. It's vape mail time. I haven't done this in a couple of weeks, so I have a few things to share with you guys today. First of all, let's do this one right here. This one, I know what this one is, but you know what? I'll act surprised anyways. Boom. All right, so this is a t-shirt. It's not actually 100% vape related, but you know what? I have to show it off. Yeah. It's the Resistance shirt from Vinyl and Vapor. I got this after we had him on Vape Stew, and I'm excited about it because I can finally represent a very nice quality shirt too. Really, I'm very happy with this. He said that I will fit an XL. Hopefully he's correct. I'm gonna have to try it on, and you'll see me rocking this in the future. But yeah, Resistance. Make sure you guys go get one of these shirts. I think they're awesome. And like I said, very nice quality shirt as well, and really nice quality printing, everything like that. very happy with my purchase. Make sure you guys check out his website, vinylandvapor.com. You can also pick up some Deep Cuts e-liquid, which I haven't tried yet, but I've heard it's absolutely delicious. So I will leave a link for that right down there in the description below. Moving right along, our next one will be this little guy right here. Now this one, it says right on the box, it's from Hellvape, so I kind of have a clue of what this one is. I'm going to employ the use of my handy dandy knife here and cut away from me because I always make that mistake. There we go. One more. We should be good. All right. Let's see. Oh, there's a note. Please do not reveal the deck until after Heathen posts his review. Ah, okay. All right. Will do. I think I'm all set because I'm a few days late to the party already as it is. But we've got the Dead Rabbit RTA. Yes! I'm sure you guys have been watching all of these videos that are coming out about this guy right here, and I will be sure to have this one on a Fresh Build Friday episode, probably this coming week. Yeah, why not? You know what? Screw it. And I have two of them here, so one will be given away as well. So one of you lucky people out there will be the recipient of one of these guys. Thank you so much to Hellvape for that. Really looking forward to trying this one out, and it was awesome having Billy on Vape Stew the other night and getting to chat with him a little bit about this project here. Last but not least, the infamous DHL bag. And I have a pretty good idea of what this one is too, but we shall see, because it's always kind of a mystery with DHL. Ah yes, the yellow packing tape. Lovely. Let's get right into it here. I'm getting good at this whole unboxing thing. Getting better. Practice makes perfect. Yeah, it's exactly what I thought it was. And you know what? I'm excited. This is the Profile RDA from my boy, Mr. Just Right 1. This thing looks amazing. It takes mesh wire or normal coils if you want to. It's got a spring-loaded piece in the middle to help push your cotton up into the coil. And I've got two of them. You know what that means. And a lot of these little giveaways here are going to go to the patrons. So if you guys aren't a patron of mine, make sure you sign up. Link is down there in the description below. We've also got some big-ass Watofo cotton. I'm assuming this is meant to be paired up with the Profile, so that's pretty cool. And we have some mesh strips as well. This is all Kanthal mesh, and yeah. So it makes my life a hell of a lot easier. I can just throw one of those pre-made strips in there and we're good to go. But that is it for Vape Mail this week. The box is empty. All right, guys, so that about does it for this video. I hope you enjoyed. If you did, make sure you hit that like button and subscribe for more videos just like this. Don't forget to click that notification bell right next to the subscribe button if you want to be alerted whenever I upload videos. Also, leave me some comments in the box below. I'd love to hear from you guys. Make sure you check out the advocacy and my social media links right down there in the description below. Thank you guys so much for tuning in, and as always, vape on. Down the hatch, as they say.
That's a lot. Yeah.
Not 5 finger death punch thing. Not overly fond.
Why?